Welcome to episode 2 of Hard Hats and Headspace. Today we've got Ose, who's going to join us. Absolutely brilliant, inspiring leader of the future. He's currently a assistant site manager with Roof. He's a Tomorrow's Leader champion for the Challenge Institute of Building. He's got some really forward thinking, good ideas about how we can attract new talent to the industry. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Enjoy. Good afternoon, everyone. We're recording this on a Saturday. This is the second episode of Hard Hats and Headspace with me, Stuart Wallis, and I have Ose Akhilele with me today. And I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about you and your background.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Very nice way to spend my Saturday. So my name is Ose Akhilele, and I am a graduate assistant site manager working for a main contractor called Roof. Besides my role at Roof, I am president of Toastmasters. I am representing the CIOB Tomorrow's Leaders Chelmsford Hub, and well, more than this, what's more important to me than these three roles is my role with my family's charity, where I'm a trustee and a project manager.
Amazing. Well, listen, lovely to have you with me today. We met last year at the Hayes CIOB event for Tomorrow's Leaders. It was a fantastic event that Hayes put on, and I met a few wonderful people like yourself that evening. And I was lucky to and privileged to be asked to share some of my history with you guys and ladies.
Yeah,
In the event.
interesting story, Stuart, from that event is that was the first time I heard of Simon Sinek's What is Your Why? So I think you spoke about that video
Yeah,
on that
Find Your Why.
panel, and I went to watch it. So very helpful. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a great podcast, a great video. So it was a TED
yeah,
Talk, wasn't it?
yeah.
Simon Sinek's Find Your Why I found inspiring, and we were looking within Mace as purpose and ambitions and behaviours, and finding your why was a big part of that. Finding the boundaries of ambition, really.
It is.
So yeah, a bit of years passed. What have you been up to since we met then?
Busy. Stuart. Mostly work, because I think work is where the finances come from to run our daily lives. So I put most of my energy in work. I've been privileged to work with some really amazing people at Roof. So put my energy there. On Tuesday made it 1 year since I've been at Roof. So time flies. Time
Yeah.
flies. Besides that, with the foundation, we've taken on 2 projects now between when we saw and today. So we've taken on 2 projects where we've tested and given medication to people living with liver cirrhosis, and we currently have 4 children, fatherless children under our care, whose education we sponsor and who we mentor as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about Foundation first? Because actually, I saw that on your LinkedIn profile, and I think it really inspired me. I thought it's a great thing for such a wonderful young man to be involved in. So tell us about the Foundation name, and I'll share a link later so people can find out more.
So the name of my family's foundation is Daniel Osareme Akhilele Foundation, and that was the name of my late father. On the logo of the foundation, you can see is my father giving an amazing smile, and that's the kind of personality he had. He was very warm, very encouraging, and he was very passionate about education of children. So when he died 5 years ago from liver cirrhosis, we took that mission forward to, number one, educate people, raise awareness on liver cirrhosis, because just like many killer diseases, not many people are aware of on what liver cirrhosis is. And the second part is to sponsor the education of fatherless children. So it's been an interesting one because the team is made up of myself, my mother, and my three sisters, and we have
Wow.
absolutely no idea on what charity was about prior to, no skills, nothing. So we've had to rough it out, but grateful for where we are at now and the impact we've made, the support we've gotten, and looking forward to having more projects and impacting more lives.
So good. I mean, it is an honourable thing to do. Um, you know, having that purpose, finding your why, is incredible, right? And I think um, just through reading through the link that you sent through before, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we'd definitely share the link for that. And I wish you and the charity every success in doing what you're doing. You know, providing that education and opportunity and chance for young people who no longer have their father around, their father figure. It's really important. So well done on that.
Thank you,
Um,
Stuart.
I would like to have a look at um, your grounding in construction, if you like, where you started and um, what does what's your current role look like at the moment? What's a typical day for you in the construction industry? Because I'm thinking hopefully some tomorrow's leaders will be watching this and you can give them that, you know,
Yeah, good question, Stuart. Typical day. First of all, first thing that comes to my mind is my coffee. So exactly. So first every day when I walk into the office, last in the last 2 months we've changed our coffee making from sugar to honey. So every
wow.
morning I have my coffee with honey, with my internal team. Um, I'm working with three guys to deliver the internal parts of the building. So we have a little debriefing every morning. We prioritize what needs to get done and who needs to get it done, and then we go out on site. Um, Most of my mornings are spent also speaking to people. I feel like just saying hi to someone and learning someone's name and interacting with them makes a big difference,
So important.
because that's the essence of I believe the essence of your podcast towards about mental health and what people in the construction industry are going through. And I found that just starting a conversation, just a little hi, just asking about someone, knowing about someone helps go a long way. So I try to integrate that into my day. Beyond that, it's the other boring stuff. Well, I say boring, but some of it can be
It's the
interesting.
necessary golden thread of information, and
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. It is the technical bit, trying to ensure that the building we're delivering is compliant and trying to capture all that quality information and golden thread of information, making sure that that safe fire safety information is ready for the end users of the building and the necessary people who need that information to make the building run.
and it is. I see this as well. You know, our projects are maybe slightly different, but
Yeah,
essentially that beginning of the day, getting around, talking with your team, seeing if anything's changed, anything's wrong, anything's right, what the plan is for the day. That also includes, are you okay? Is everyone okay? So anyone got anything you want to talk about? It's really important. I'm fortunate that I go to a lot of workplaces and a lot of sites in Macetown, otherwise known as London, right?
yeah,
I get to see people I've met before, a lot of people. Don't always remember everyone's name, right? Because that is a lot of people. But I try to remember, and I try to stop. How are you? How's things here? Is there any issues you are aware of on the project you're with? And just, are you well? What are
yeah,
we doing well as what could we do better? Which is another way of rephrasing what's good, what's bad, right?
yeah.
Because someone wants bad, they're gonna go for the worst. But what can we do? What do we do well? Oh, that's good. We could do that even better. We'll make sure we keep doing that well. But what could we do better that's not so good?
Yeah.
And logic and thinking things through,
I
productivity and stuff.
find that very powerful because most of what we do in construction is reactive. You plan a day and then it goes the other way. So if we're not built mentally ready at the beginning of the day, if we're not checking with with the team, checking in with ourselves. It makes it harder at the end of the day, harder for the project.
Absolutely. And I think if you've got that spirit of people that believe they're part of a team,
Yeah,
and that people care, underplay a lot my um role in that because I don't, I suppose it was a confidence thing before I started looking after my own mental health, really. Was a confidence in my ability or my impact. But people say it's great when you're in because you ask us how we are, and you listen. And if I've got an issue, I know you're going to sort it for us, or you're going to try, or you're going to tell me. I give an answer. You might not always like it, but it's an honest answer. People will go, "Mm, okay, I get that," and move on. Right. So having that set up for the day, site set up for the day, I
yeah.
think sounds like you've got it on point there.
Thank you.
Going forward. So project management. What got you into that? What brought you into orange sector? What made you want to do that?
That is a good question. So 5 years ago, I started. I came into the industry with a civil engineering degree. So did civil engineering degree. I studied for my civil engineering degree in Nigeria, and then straight after that, I went into highways. So I worked in highways for 1 year
Wow.
with highway company in Nigeria. Did We constructed 21-kilometer road and 8 bridges. So I was there for that 1 year stretch of the project.
Wow.
That was my first experience thrown into the industry, and it was a good one at the time, but I wouldn't say that I was really enjoying it. I was just, it wasn't really my thing. I was just good at showing up. So I was just good at showing up. It wasn't something that I was passionate.
So important. Being
So
reliable.
honestly, so after that, I decided to further my education and get a master's degree in construction project management, mostly because it involved people more rather than the engineering side. Managing people seemed to be where I leaned towards. I
Yeah.
enjoy people's company. I enjoy speaking to people. I enjoy influencing people as well. So I thought that that would be more of my strength. And um, I came to England to study for the course, and it's been good. It's been good so far. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the challenges. I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you settled into, I suppose there's differences, right? There's differences in every country in how we operate in construction
yeah,
and culture and uh, the ways of working, right? And I, I have ADHD, right? And I'm on the train, and you scroll through, and the algorithm goes, "Oh, he works in construction," so you get shown these videos of people, different countries in with terrible scaffolding or forklifts lifting up forklifts and all, and then you're like, "Wow, that culture's really different in my industry." So, how did you find that change from Nigeria to UK in terms of culture in construction?
in terms of the culture, I'd say I just kind of adapted, especially because I was not soaked into the Nigerian construction industry for too long. I did that for 1 year, and
Yeah.
doing my master's, believe it or not, kind of prepared me. I know what we experience on site is different from any uni work, is more important most times, but that gave me a taster into what I was expecting, into what a bit of the culture is like, especially the positive sides of it. You get to really see the positive side of things when you're studying. So I would say it was a big shift for me. And one thing that has helped me is being open-minded. So I've been open-minded to people, to experiences, and always try to, shape my perspective of what I have seen. And that has really helped me. So I've
Good.
been able to adapt.
Amazing. I mean, I started off my career wanted to be a travel agent, helping people go on holidays, right? And then I got a job in manufacturing, and I quite like working with people. I wasn't very good at the technical stuff,
Yeah.
really, but I loved working with people. And a very long story gone short. That's how I ended up here, and through various different employers and
But
um,
but that's really amazing, like how all of that background, and I've seen your profile with what you did in HR and moving. through all of that steps in life, I'm sure it has prepared you like for where you are
Yeah.
now, which is, and even the interesting thing is even the challenges as well, because I've seen your diagnosis, and that is amazing and powerful to me, and I honestly
Yeah.
respect
Thank
it,
you.
and being able to still show up, every day in what you do.
I appreciate that. I mean, it is. It was difficult at first to um, understand what I'd just been told. And someone's got your ADHD and you've got depression at the same time. You're like, whoa, where did that come from? I wasn't expecting that. But um, I found the journey, which this is part of, right? And sharing it. And because I'm a people person, if I can share what I've done, where I've been, and where I've come from, then hopefully that'll inspire some more people to do the same. Um, and you were mentioning you started on highways. So the second book in here, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you later. This guy called Sir Alan Cockshaw. I had a privilege of meeting him recently, and he started off very similar, right?
Oh,
On the highways, working class lad from Manchester. And, parents not had a lot and worked hard and was one of the first, I think he was the first person in his town to ever go to university. And he went on to become the chairman of AMEC, which was one of the biggest construction companies in the world. And I'll send you the details of it
yeah.
later. But he started with the highways, and he was building highways and bridges. And so my point is, you could go on to be the chairman of a mega company. The sky's the limit really for you if you want to go down that route. And I think with what you're doing early in your career, that's there.
Thank you so much.
So
Very much
who knows,
appreciated.
right?
Thank you.
Just don't forget me if you do, right?
I'll try. I'll try.
It'll be fine. But
Yeah.
it is. Um, I found it inspiring with all the people that were in that room when we met last year, and then just reading through beforehand what you've done. The CIOB thing, I think, is incredible. You did Tomorrow's Leaders stuff. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. So,
How you got into it?
so that's a very interesting story. So when came to the UK, I started my master's in construction project management. Something my dad's death taught me was community. So my mind naturally was just thinking community, find a community, find a group, a place, a group that fits into your professional journey. So I started making that inquiry early on to my professors, asking about the professional bodies that supported construction, and
Yeah,
found out that the CI at the time that the CIOB was the leading one for construction, leading professional body for construction project management. And then I was privileged enough to have them visit my uni and give a presentation. And that day was really a big milestone in my journey, because after that presentation, I spoke to an amazing lady called Sarah, and the hall was empty. I went to meet Sarah. We started speaking about, opportunities in the industry, and then where I was going, what my plans were for that summer, trying to get work experience. And she told me, she said, look at this hall, look at the people that were in this hall today, look at those people that have come before you, and look at those that will come after you. That is your competition. And what are you going to do differently?
amazing.
What would you do differently? So that was my first entry into CIB. I think that encouraged me to take that step forward, be part of that community, and a lot of the values, the commitment to ethics, professionalism really aligned with what I wanted for myself as a professional. And I like to contribute anywhere I am, and the opportunity of being a tomorrow's leader champion and now a tomorrow's leader representative, when they arose, it really appealed to me, because I think being part of any community and being a backbencher is not really the best. You
It's
can
not your thing.
It's not my thing. So I think
Yeah.
in the most little of ways, I can always contribute. So that's my little journey to being a tomorrow's leader representative.
Well, I love that, and I want to explore that some more. I'm going to take a quick comfort break, and then we will carry on with that conversation.
Good. Okay.
Right, I say welcome back. Thanks for the short adjournment there. But really important. I want to carry on that conversation we were just down about CIOB and you've been a Toastmaster as well, in Chelmsford branch of the CIOB hub. I want to explore a bit more about you and what that's meant for you. Like, what does that mean leading for you as someone from a minority ethnic background? And as a professional, what's that meant to you? What's that led for you to do?
Well, Stuart, I like to I like to not reflect on it. That's how I've best approached it. So I've never up. I got out of bed in the morning and said to myself, "You're an ethnic minority, right?" And
Yeah,
I think it's kind of a handicap when, in my opinion, when people reflect on that too much, because I think the world is ready to receive you because of your
yeah,
values and your skills and what you bring to the table rather than, your color or, your or age
nationality
or
or yeah,
nationality. Yeah. So that's one side of the table. But then the other side of the table is the reality of things, is the fact that I've had to learn how to understand people's slangs. I've had
yeah,
to learn how
yeah.
to understand humor and culture, appreciate culture, because all these things at the end of the day are different. So it's back to that, telling myself that I have to adapt. So that's how I've been able to handle it. So on one part of that coin is not reflecting on it too much or not seeing it as a handicap. And on the other side is the reality where I have to show up each day and try to adapt and enjoy also being in environments where I simply do not know. So that's how I've been able to
I mean,
adapt.
it is. There's a phrase I can't think of it, but you need to see someone who represents you, right, to inspire you, to show you the way. And to some degree, I've kind of felt that's a bit my role this year with the stuff I've talked about before, mental health and neurodiversity. And I think you have a responsibility as a leader, right, as well, to show kids tomorrow, right. Let's just focus on kids, right, for the future because with the skill shortage and this stuff the politicians and my bosses have to deal with, right, at the top level. You will be inspiring people, right, to do things, and it might not be because you're from Nigeria. It might be because you've gone through the master's degree, and you're on site, and you're young, and you're getting into big positions, and I think that is incredibly important, right, for you, and that's why I wanted to discuss that with you, and see how you coped with that. And it's great, right, to hear you in a positive light for it. Because I've heard lots of not positive experiences for people from all walks of life, right, in my job, because I deal with so many people. And almost, I think what I took from what you said there was, look, I turn up, I show up, I'm me because I'm good at my job. That who I am doesn't matter as because you'll get the real me, right? I am
Yeah.
turning up. When I was born, does not made me into an engineer.
Yeah.
It's me that's done that,
Yeah.
and that's great.
Right, Stuart. And like it makes me remember something, that a mindset that I was very, very happy about entering the year with. It was being authentic. So I told myself at the beginning of the year that I need to show up every day authentic, own who I am. And that also means not letting myself be influenced in ways that I don't want to be influenced. Because, like you said, Stuart, the gift of going for more or trying to put myself out there is the people that hopefully I would inspire. So if I'm taking the wrong influences aboard, I'm doing them a disservice. So I just, have to try to taking the right things, and hopefully that inspires somebody to do better as well.
I think doing things like this, and for those that do read listen or watch this, when it comes out, you reached out to me and said, "Look, I'd love to come on the podcast." And I was like, "That's amazing!" Like genuinely, because I thought I'm not sure who's going to ask to come on, who I'll ask. Like, and I went to look at it, and you come to me. I was like, "Yes," because we might be able to inspire our next generation construction talent. I'm 48 this year, right? So it's the first time I've started to feel old or older. Yes, it means I've only got 20 years to go till I can retire. Yeah. So I want to see all this talent coming through, and I want to see people like you working with people like me to develop that. And we have in the business that employs me Monday to Friday, we have a great emerging talents team. But not everyone does, clearly, otherwise we wouldn't have such a skills gap. So I think what you're doing, we'll get you. We can do some stuff together. I think moving forward.
Definitely, Stuart. Definitely.
So, teenager thinking about what to do. I've got one. He's just gone out to watch a movie, right? What would you say to him to inspire him to work in our sector?
Well, I'd say first of all, be open-minded. I'll say three things. One, be open-minded. Be open-minded to opportunities. Don't see an opportunity, and before you've taken that step, you've already let fear defeat you. So be open-minded, because people are willing to help. People are willing to give answers to questions, and that takes me on to the second thing: is be curious. I think by curiosity, like, you somehow find that path that is meant for you through curiosity, by asking the right questions, by prompting the right questions from people. I found that would people are almost eager to mentor these days. I think
Yeah,
there are lots of potential mentors, but sometimes we don't think of the fact that we need to create that avenue for people to be able to mentor us. So I think by asking the right question, the right environment is being created for that mentor mentee relationship. And
yeah,
lastly, I'd say, like, uh, just try as many things as possible. Try as many things as possible. Keep on trying, and at the end of the day, you'd see what works for you, and what maybe may not work and may be useful in future for you.
yeah. That's brilliant. I like the mentee thing. So mentor, mentee. You can have formal structures, right, in a business,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, right? A business should do. It doesn't work for everyone, but it work. Some people are intimidated by the fact you have to go and fill out a form to do it, right? That's just mad. I can be like that. Oh, hands up. I can go, oh, there's a form to fill out. Oh, maybe I won't get it then because someone's going to read it oh, what if I'm not the right person? That goes through
Yeah,
my head, right?
yeah,
And I've been
yeah,
addressing that for years.
yeah.
But then that bit you said about ask, because actually people are willing to help and and they love talking about themselves, right? Now, and I think that is where I take what you said, right, which is go and ask people that have got experience, that have worked on some of the best and worst jobs, because the worst jobs are where you really learn, and you go, oh, what have we done? Then you go and put it in place somewhere, and it's amazing. I am incredibly fortunate in my career to have worked with some of the best people. Paul Corby when I worked for the union, Graham Ludlow when I was at Speed Matthew Hall, who both of whom knew Sir Alan Coxshaw in the book, and
Yeah.
introduced me to him. People that I work for now are inspiring. Amazing. My friend Paul Layton, who is working with me at Houston, and those people are all from different backgrounds and walks of life, right? And they have different experiences. So Paul's an electrician, for example, Paul Layton. Paul Corby was a brickie, was working in civils construction. I've probably said the wrong trade, and he'll absolutely annihilate me for that. But the
But you're
point is, they're leaders. They become leaders, and they teach us, and they show us. And I think learn from everyone is what I would say from that.
people make people. So, if, like you said, if you have this different stage of a different group of ideas and different group of positive minded people with brilliant ideas to push you forward, then I think as a young person, that's what you need right now. I also, to add to little spice on that start, I'll also say start looking to build your personal brand. We are in one of the best times to be alive now. I'd say the internet it connects over um, billions of people in the world right now. So best time to put yourself out there because you never know. Life can be an odds game. So the more you have visibility on the internet, I just some of you may be like me that I've never been one to put myself out there in the past. I'm not really big fan of social media, but you have to ask yourself why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? So if you're doing it for a good reason to bring value to the marketplace, to sell your personal brand, then why not? Why not?
Absolutely. I've spent. I was an early adopter of LinkedIn. Right, I was using it in a recruitment business 10 years ago.
Oh,
That seemed maybe more. I was one of the first to join when it came out, and it wasn't owned by Microsoft then. So it's going back a while, and I spent the time and effort trying to learn what I was doing, and for maybe one day it'll help me get a job, maybe it won't. But I just found it interesting. Then you meet all these people that you've known in your life that have all started joining up, and then your brand, like you say, grows. I mean, the internet is a great place. But also, you show everything about yourself. So if you're on social media, I'm a bit of a social media flirt, right? Um, you do daft things, don't you? To make kids laugh. We've been on holiday, and I think, I posted something on Facebook. We were packing, and my wife said, "This dress is going in the bin." So I put it on to make the kids laugh, right? And then by the time I get back to work, someone who I'm friends with on Facebook is friends with my project director, screenshotted the
oh.
pictures, sent it to him, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in a dress?" But laughing, right? And I'm like,
Okay.
so what? It's just funny. I wanted to make my kids laugh because they were
Yeah.
winding me up while we were
Yeah.
packing to come home from Spain, right? And I think I don't mind if people see that because that's me. That's the real me. I'm daft as a brush. I will perform in a pantomime on stage now, um, which I would never thought I would have done sort of 3 or 4 years ago. And I think you're right. Being your true self and showing that and investing in your own brand. I'm not saying everyone should put a dress on if you're right, if you don't want to. It's not my advice. It's about
Yeah.
being a genuine self and don't be afraid, but do make sure whatever you do put on the internet, you're happy to go anywhere,
Exactly.
right? Because that will happen. Good advice, really good advice. Invested in your brand,
Yeah.
right? So, what else we got to say on that? So you were going to say something?
Nah, I was just going to. It's just what you said. Last thing you said just made me remember something I saw yesterday. It was about when you want to send an email, send it as if it's going to be read in court. And yeah, so think about it before you send it basically. So send that email like it's going to be read in court one day. So same thing with the internet, I'd assume. So whatever you put out there, make sure that it's something you'll be able to stand by.
That is some fantastic advice. That is
Yeah.
really good advice.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, I deal with people, and I have dealt with people who have put things they shouldn't have done in writing, and they come to me for some advice, and I go, "Ooh, how do we get out of this one? Because you shouldn't have said that. You should not have written that."
Yeah.
Oh. Right, let me just think how I can help you, and invariably I do. I'm not going to talk any more about the exact case because you never know where that might go. But yeah, be careful what you write. But
Exactly.
people forget messaging, Teams messages, right? People treat it like a text message. That's official business,
It
So
is.
just be careful on that.
Yeah.
But on the same token, put your real self out there, be yourself, which I think is important. So have you got anything coming up? Any new stuff coming up? Any stuff you're doing CIOB? Anything that's inspiring you in this year?
Yeah, so in October, I'm going to be supporting the CIB to deliver a student challenge for Anglo Ruskin University. Uh,
Well,
and basically, universities in Chelmsford area. So yeah, I'm going to be supporting that, and I'm looking forward to it. It might expand beyond Chelmsford. I'm thinking
Okay.
all of Essex, East England area. So yeah, I'm supporting that, and I'm looking forward to it. And also, in 2027, which is a bit far
Yeah.
from now, I'm
It's
looking to
good prior notice.
yeah, exactly. I'm looking to start my own podcast, which is my motivation for being on Stuart's podcast today. And one of the first things that I plan to do as being as to start my podcast is to be on someone's podcast. And I'm happy, like I'm privileged that Stuart has had me on his as a timer on his podcast.
Well, listen, the first few episodes have been first timers. The guys from What About You last week and yourself this week. But listen, it's only my second episode of my own thing, and it's all about learning. And um, I was over the moon when you got in touch. I thought, oh, this is brilliant. This will be a really good conversation because it can't just be Stu and his mates, right? For forever. I want it to be. No, you are a friend,
Yeah,
right? Just to be clear, but I think you've got a great story. It's one of the things I said at the beginning of this was I've got stories to tell, and I was telling it, but I've got loads of people in my network that have got great stories as well, and I think you
exactly.
will inspire people to do that. And I love that piece of advice you've given about putting stuff in emails. Um, be careful. well,
No,
not necessarily be careful. Just don't write anything you shouldn't.
yeah.
It's not rocket science. Punctuation and grammar, right? I'm a grammar person, right? I just naturally want to make sure people
Yeah.
put a full stop now and again.
At
And
the end of the day, is part of like selling your brand as well. Is beyond.
yeah,
This is now beyond the internet. It's even in that internal circle of the work. If you're in a workplace, like you want to sell your brand, you want when people think about you. You want those things to be positive, like we all do. But
yeah,
obviously, no human being is void of mistakes. At the end of the day, I guess, like you said, start show up authentically, but be careful with some things. Like be reasonable.
yeah, yeah. And I think behaviors, the key behaviors. You mentioned some that I love, like being curious, be reliable, be safe, be your best. All these things. You you need to live and be. I think be your honest self.
There's one I like, Stuart, is be human. Be human at the end of the day.
You've got to remember that, right? We're humans, which does mean we will make mistakes,
Yeah.
but we learn from them. And then when you've learned from it, you'll go past a job you built. And like me with my kids, I go, I worked on that one. You'll be talking to whoever's in the car going, I built that. See that roof there? See the shard? See that McLaren Technology Centre where Lewis Hamilton used to have his car fitted? I did that. I want to go to Heathrow. I haven't go to Heathrow Airport, by the way, since I was 6, 7 years old with my mum. It used to be our holiday. It was not a great holiday. We were only going to the airport. We never got on the plane. Right? But even now, what's that? 32 years on, and I work at the airport 2 days, 3 days a week, something like that. Nothing ever stops you from going, oh, there's Concorde at the end of the runway that hasn't flown for 20 years. Oh, there's an A380. And then look at this building. We did this. Right?
Well, in that long stretch of experience, Stuart, because I like to be curious myself. What's one advice you give me, considering the stage of my career I'm at right now?
It's a great bit of advice that I was given a long time ago, and I've heard it as well from Nancy Doyle, sorry. And it's got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and use them in that proportion, which is listen twice as much as you speak. And most people won't believe that because I talk a lot, right? But I'm always listening, and I've got a good memory.
That's powerful.
Right? So I think 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them in that proportion. So listen to your peers, really. And before you go, where with your decision or your advice or your answer, make sure you've listened to everyone else. Try and get as much of the whole picture as you can to help you form your decision.
That is very powerful. That is very powerful. I've found that listening is 50% of speaking in the first place because you
Yeah.
don't understand what you're going to say if you don't listen. So
And
powerful.
there are a lot of people you'll come across that will just go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, this is what I want you to do. They're not listening. They're not listening. See, I have got more brave as I got older. I got over my bit of imposter syndrome early on. And now I go, are you listening to me? I go, well, okay, well, tell us what you mean. All right, thanks. Now you're listening. Instead of just going, like, this is what I want to say.
No, I think I
And
think I think a lot of people do that. It's quite interesting. Like, yeah, you don't because I think there's also listening to or seeing the body language of the other person and realizing that they may even, like you said, think they are listening, but they're not actually in that space. So
yeah,
yeah,
it is. You're right. So that's it. I try and live by that. I try and give people the time. Give people the time of day. We're all human. Be human. I
human.
that's a good bit of advice that I've got. A good phrase I've got from you today. No, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Maybe we'll do it again. And if you're looking for guests in 27, um, my ADHD did this differently. So I decided one day I was going to do a podcast because I'd been on a couple, and I thought, I could do this. I could do this. Got a great story. And about a week later, I recorded my first one. So
Cool.
it all. I've got no patience. I don't wait. I got off with stuff. My
Cool.
wife's going to come home and go, you're doing something else.
Interestingly, so during this period before 2027, I'm making like little guest lists. And then I made the name for the podcast as well. I'm calling it Everyday Super People. And with what
Amazing.
you do, Stuart, that's the category I put you under. It's you're an everyday person, but you're different. You've decided to do things differently. You've decided to bring value into our industry, and thank you for all you do.
Pleasure. Listen, I I just enjoy it. I just enjoy the opportunities my job brings me. And look, thank you for coming on. I wish you every success. We'll get all of the links for people to hit you up on LinkedIn and the charity website as well. We'll look out for you across the CIOB network as well. I'm sure I'm gonna, we'll bump into each other again. Um,
Definitely.
and listen, let's hope our Saturday afternoon's been well spent and we inspire more people to do amazing things in construction. So thanks for coming and sharing the headspace
Thank you.
today.
Thank you
And
very much,
I
Stuart.
wish you every success.
You too. You too, my
All
friend.
right, see you soon.
All right, see you. Bye.
That was my podcast with Ose. What a wonderful guy. Hopefully, he's inspired some of you into the industry, or you found his story interesting about what he's done. There's some links shared in the description for the podcast. Please like and subscribe and share this podcast as much as you can. Okay, see you soon. Bye for now.